When I was 12 years old, I found myself home alone while my mom and brother went out to a party. I've never been a fan of parties, so I decided to stay home with my two dogs. At first, I felt safe with my furry companions by my side, but as time passed, things took a turn. My mom and brother were only going to be gone for the weekend, but as night fell each evening, I couldn't shake a feeling of dread that seemed to center around my mom's room. Her room was on the opposite side of the house, and I often found myself hanging out there when she wasn't home, as she didn't mind. My sister's room was off limits while she was at work, leaving me with only my own room and my mother's. One night, as I was getting ready for bed, the sense of unease intensified. I always kept my dogs in my room with me when I slept, and even moved their food bowls in there until morning. I avoided the hallway leading to the bathroom at all costs, as that was where I felt the strongest sense of foreboding. The air in that area felt strangely hot, despite the fact that the air conditioning was on. Feeling unsettled, I grabbed the tablet with access to our security cameras. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Why was one part of the house so hot while the rest was cool? I checked the cameras, but found nothing out of the ordinary. As I continued to watch the live feed, a sense of unease crept over me. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my eye on the screen. I zoomed in to get a closer look, my heart pounding in my chest. There, in the corner of the screen, was a shadowy figure lurking in the darkness. Panic set in as I realized someone was in our house. Without hesitation, I dialed 911 and waited, my eyes glued to the screen, praying for help to arrive in time. The following night, I felt a strong urge to check the cameras once more. The backyard was pitch black, and the side view showed nothing unusual. After a thorough check, I placed a knife under my pillow for added security. As I scanned the cameras again, I noticed my dog behaving strangely. For some reason, I felt compelled to investigate further. I couldn't remember why, but I knew I had to get to the bottom of whatever was causing the eerie. As I cautiously made my way downstairs, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled in the pit of my stomach. The house seemed unusually quiet, with only the faint sound of my dog's paws echoing through the hallway. I couldn't help but wonder what had spooked him so much. As I reached the bottom of the stairs, I noticed a strange chill in the air that sent shivers down my spine. The silence was deafening, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. I cautiously peeked around the corner, only to find the living room empty and the front door wide open. Panic set in as I realized that my dog was nowhere to be found. My heart raced as I frantically searched the house, calling out his name in desperation. The eerie feeling grew stronger with each passing moment, and I knew I had to find him before it was too late. I raced through the house, my heart pounding in my chest as I called out for my beloved dog. The sense of dread continued to linger in the air, making my skin crawl with unease. I checked every room, every corner, but there was no sign of him. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized he must have somehow slipped out the open door. I grabbed my coat and rushed outside, scanning the yard frantically for any trace of him. The cold wind whipped through my hair, adding to the sense of urgency that consumed me. I knew I had to find him, no matter what it took. As I carried my trembling dog back inside and locked the door, a chill ran down my spine. The night seemed unusually silent, as if the world outside held its breath. I checked the security cameras once more, my hands shaking. To my horror, the footage revealed something I hadn't noticed before, a shadowy figure lurking just beyond the reach of the porch light. It moved with an eerie, almost ethereal grace, disappearing into the darkness as quickly as it had appeared. Fear gripped me like icy fingers as I realized the truth. Someone had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. The sense of being hunted washed over me, sending adrenaline coursing through my veins. I called the police again, my voice trembling as I relayed what I had seen. They arrived swiftly, but found no trace of the intruder. They assured me they would patrol the area throughout the night, but I knew deep down that the darkness held secrets they couldn't easily uncover. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house, every gust of wind outside, made me jump. I kept my dog close, his presence the only comfort in the face of the unknown. In the days that followed, despite heightened security measures, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Paranoia gnawed at my sanity, and I found myself constantly looking over my shoulder, dreading the moment when the shadowy figure might return. Months passed without incident, but the fear lingered like a shadow over my life. I never felt truly safe in my own home again, haunted by the memory of that night and the chilling realization that some threats lurk unseen, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. And so, my childhood innocence shattered, I learned the harsh truth that even in the safety of our homes, darkness can hide monsters we never knew existed.